Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever really just wanted to make a chocolate mousse that is so silky, so incredibly fluffy and luxurious that people literally assume you trained in Paris? You know, the kind of dessert that requires at least 3 tiny, specialized dessert spoons to eat properly? Well, in today's explainer, we are breaking down an absolutely brilliant recipe that gives you that exact result, but requires zero culinary training to pull off.
See, traditional mousse, it relies heavily on raw eggs. You're whipping the whites, separating the yolks, and carrying around this constant underlying stress of accidentally creating chocolate scrambled eggs. Honestly, it's a terrifying prospect. But we're going a different route. This approach uses a heavy cream cheat code. We're going to get that exact same cloud-like, luxurious texture, but with zero eggs, minimal effort, and, most importantly, maximum bragging rights.
So, what do we actually need to make this happen? The lineup here is wonderfully simple. You're going to need about 7 ounces or 200 grams of really high quality dark or semi sweet chocolate. You're looking for that 60 to 70% cocoa range for the best flavor. Then grab 1 1/4 cups of heavy whipping cream. Now, pay attention here. We're actually going to split this cream up. Half a cup is going to go towards melting our base, and the remaining 3/4 of a cup, that's getting saved for whipping later on. To round out the whole shebang, just grab 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla extract.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the optional upgrades, because these can really elevate the whole thing. A tiny pinch of salt is absolutely crucial for balancing the sweetness. But let's talk about that half teaspoon of instant espresso powder. I know what you're thinking, but don't worry, adding this will not make your mousse taste like a cup of coffee. It's more like the espresso powder acts as chocolate's personal trainer. It doesn't take over, it just makes the chocolate flavor so much stronger, richer, and just more robust. All right, before we actually start cooking, we have got to address the chocolate itself. You might be super tempted to just grab a bag of chocolate chips from the pantry, right? Save some time. But chocolate chips are specifically designed to keep their shape during baking. When it comes to making a perfectly smooth mousse, they are basically commitment phobes. We need our chocolate to completely melt and fully commit to this relationship. So the absolute secret here is using real chocolate bars that are actually willing to melt down flawlessly. Okay, let's get into the process. Step 1 is what I like to call the chocolate spa treatment. First, chop your real chocolate bar into a heat-proof bowl. Then, you're going to gently simmer that half cup of heavy cream we set aside earlier. And guys, I cannot stress this enough. Simmer it gently. Do not let it erupt like some sort of dairy volcano. Once it's just barely simmering, pour that hot cream directly over your chopped chocolate and just let it sit there for 1 full minute. It is a relaxing spa treatment for the chocolate. After that minute is up, gently whisk it all together until it becomes perfectly smooth and glossy, and then you can start in your vanilla and any of those fun optional upgrades we talked about. Now, once your base is mixed, hands off. You need to let this chocolate mixture cool completely down to room temperature. This usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes. It should stay smooth and pourable, but it absolutely cannot be warm. Why? Well, because warm chocolate and whipped cream have the exact same relationship as cats and vacuum cleaners. They simply do not get along. So, while the chocolate is cooling off, it's time to handle the whipped cream. Grab a chilled bowl, actually chilling it makes a huge difference, and add your remaining 3/4 of a cup of cold, heavy cream, along with the powdered sugar. You are going to whip this until proud mountains form. We do not want sad little hills, and we definitely don't want cream soup. You're looking for stiff peaks. A really great test for this, if you can hold the bowl completely upside down over your head without creating a massive dairy-related emergency on your kitchen floor, you are in perfect shape. Let's move to and see how this builds, because combining these two elements requires just a little bit of finesse. First, add about 1/3 of your whipped cream right into that completely cooled chocolate base. This just lightens the mixture up. Then, add the rest. But listen, you must fold it in, using a gentle sweeping figure-8 motion. You are not stirring, you are not attacking the bowl. And this is absolutely not a speed contest. Every single air bubble in that whipped cream is working overtime right now to give your mousse that fluffy texture. You really have to respect their hard work. Once everything is beautifully folded together, it's time for step 5, chill and set. You can spoon or, if you're feeling fancy, pipe the mousse into your serving glasses. Try to make them look nice and presentable, even if the rest of your kitchen currently looks like a chocolate crime scene. Now, this next part is completely mandatory. You have to refrigerate them for at least 2 hours. Honestly, overnight is even better if you have the patience for it. Once they are fully set and ready to go, top them with some extra whipped cream, maybe some chocolate shavings, fresh berries, whatever makes you feel like a true dessert influencer. So, the crucial point is, the single absolute rule that can entirely make
or break this wonderful recipe. The chocolate must be completely cooled before adding your whipped cream. I get it, I really do. It is incredibly tempting to rush the process. But if your chocolate mixture is even slightly warm, it will instantly melt the cream. It will completely destroy all of those hardworking air bubbles we just talked about, and it'll turn your beautiful fluffy dessert into something that basically resembles expensive chocolate soup. I mean, it'll still be delicious for sure, but it definitely won't be a mousse. And there you have it, a rich, totally restaurant-worthy, exceptionally fluffy chocolate mousse with 0 eggs, no complicated techniques, and literally just a handful of ingredients. It really is the ultimate low-effort triumph. I'd absolutely love to know what you think of this approach. What's your absolute favorite chocolate dessert? Think about it, and hey, maybe try giving this cheat code method a spin to see if it takes the top spot. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep whisking, keep learning, and remember, life is short. Eat the mousse.